Hello, and welcome to Junior Achievement of Tampa Bay's Finance Park Teacher Training. This portion of the training will cover the in-class curriculum that you will be using to prepare your students for JA Finance Park. We are so excited to have you participate in this program as we help local students prepare to succeed in a global economy. Let's begin with a little bit about the program. The JA Finance Park program helps students build a foundation upon which they can make intelligent financial decisions that last a lifetime, including decisions related to income, expenses, savings, and credit. This program is a capstone experience, which means after the in-class lessons, students will visit JA Finance Park to apply what they learned in class to a simulation that mimics real-world decisions that students will have to make later in life. Students will be given a life scenario and tasked with creating a budget based on their given situation. The goal of this training is to get you more acquainted with the JA Finance Park program and go over the curriculum you will be utilizing in your classroom. We will also share insights and best practices to ensure that your students have a successful learning experience at JA Finance Park. The JA Finance Park program has 4 components to it. The teacher training to prepare you to deliver the lessons, followed by you preparing the students for their visit through the classroom instruction. These lessons teach the students everything they need to know to be successful on the day of their visit. Next is the visit to JA Finance Park, where students put what they have learned to use, and concludes with a post-simulation wrap-up where you are able to review students' final budgets and talk about what they experienced. The benefit of using this program for educators is that it does not require a lot of preparation on your end. The lessons are easy to use and flexible, so you can implement them when and where they fit into your class schedule. Everything is prepared for you, and the curriculum is interactive and engaging for students. It also includes assessments for each unit, and there are additional extension activities you can use to give students a well-rounded picture of what the future holds. You may be looking at this curriculum and thinking, what does the commitment look like for me? The thing that I want to highlight here is that the teacher's responsibility is to integrate JA Finance Park lessons into your classes and work with JA staff to schedule your visit to Finance Park to allow your students to complete the simulation. What I want to point out right now is that these lessons and extensions do correlate to Florida state standards and help students fill the career and college planning requirements. The key here is to look at how you can use these lessons to help yourself out. Let's get started by looking at an overview of what the JA Finance Park curriculum looks like. If you have your teacher guide, this is a great time to get it out and follow along. We will be talking through each unit in an overview. Let's take a quick peek first at your JA Finance Park materials. You should have your teacher guide binder that includes all of the lesson plans, student workbooks for your classes. In your binder, you will also find posters for your classroom as well as these Savvy Shopper game sets. Additionally, you get access to our online resources housed on the JA platform. Here you will find videos, assessments, more web resources, unit PowerPoint decks, and more. JA Finance Park is comprised of 4 instructional units, followed by the visit to the Finance Park site for the simulation and debrief lesson. We will talk about each unit in more detail in a few moments. The important thing to know is that each unit has a set number of lessons that will work into your class schedule however you choose to set that up. Here is an example of a timeline that can be used to plan out your JA Finance Park lessons. This is our traditional delivery layout. We do have a project-based learning setup that you are free to use, but for the purpose of this training, we are just going to look at the traditional delivery. Each unit has a set of core lessons. These are seen as the number of lessons required to complete the unit. However, this could be a mix of core lessons and extensions. We're going to go over all of this in a minute. What I want you to remember here is that the curriculum is flexible. Set up the delivery of the lessons however it fits best into your class schedule. Mix and match to make it work for you, and keep in mind the curriculum will need to be completed prior to your visit to JA Finance Park. Each instructional unit is comprised of core lessons and extension opportunities. Think of the core lessons as the required pieces. The number of core lessons differ from unit to unit. Each lesson includes the same characteristics: setting the stage, which gets the students intrigued with what they are learning, lesson steps that include practice and hands-on activities, a summary and review, and at the end of each of the 4 units, there is a culminating unit assessment and extension activities. Like the core activities, each unit has between 3 and 8 extension activities available, and the time for each varies. These are optional and designed to extend upon the concepts presented in the section. The extension activities are written as full lesson plans, not just an alternative exercise. In some cases, activities can be directly substituted for a portion of the core traditional lesson. As we talk through each unit, I will highlight which ones make for good substitutions and point out what lessons tie directly to the simulation. Let's get started with Unit 1, Income. During this unit, students learn about the fundamental role of income in managing their personal finances and the factors that affect income and take-home pay. They will understand the decisions they make about their education and career will have an impact on their potential income and quality of life. This unit includes a video introduction to the program, a pre-test, and 3 core lessons. You also have 8 extension opportunities you can choose from. Here are your 3 core lessons for the income unit. In Lesson 1, students think about their future. What are their hopes and dreams for work, family, and whatever future they want to have? Students complete the Rate Your Interest, Abilities, and Values worksheet, create a worker profile, and identify their top 3 interests, abilities, and values in their workbook. With Lesson 1, you have the option to substitute Extension Activity 1, the Cooter Navigator, in the place of the workbook activity. The Cooter Navigator is an online career assessment to help students learn about their interests, skills, and work values. In Lesson 2, students look at various occupations and jobs expected to grow in the future. You will discuss the education needed for various careers and the number of jobs and careers people tend to have over a lifetime. Students play a memory game to learn more about career clusters. You also have a substitution option here to complete extension number 2, the career choice research, in place of the game. This extension has the students research career information online and use the rubric in their workbook to see how it aligns to their interests, abilities, and values. The final core lesson introduces the types of taxes people pay, and the students discuss the use of the different kinds of taxes. They will then practice calculating net monthly income using an example paycheck provided in the teacher guide and student workbook. This lesson has a direct simulation connection because the students will have to calculate their net monthly income at JA Finance Park on their own. These are the extension activities for Unit 1, Income. You will notice some extensions are annotated with an asterisk. These were identified by our pilot teachers as lessons that help fit the career planning needs all students must complete. We have already talked about Extension 1 and 2 and how they can be used as substitution options during the core lessons. Extension 3 has students examine traits of entrepreneurs and develop a presentation for a new business idea that they will then present to the class. Extension 4 teaches students how to identify and project fixed and variable costs for a business. In Extension 5, students learn about different STEM careers and practice using their innovation by building a pencil holder out of a single sheet of paper. Extension 6, students review tax tables and practice calculating taxes given different income. In Extension 7, students practice computing sales tax and the final cost of items. And finally, in Extension 8, students are introduced to the 1040EZ and practice filling out a 1040EZ income tax form. Let's move on to Unit 2, Saving, Investing, and Risk Management. We sometimes refer to this unit with the acronym SIRM. During this unit, students will explore savings and look at how investments fit in as a part of their financial planning. They will also examine risk and how insurance may help protect your savings. This unit has 2 core lessons and 5 extension activities that you can choose from. These are your 2 core lessons for Unit 2. In Lesson 1, students think about savings and making saving, even a small amount, a priority. They will think about their goals and how they spend and earn money today. They also make a plan for how they can begin to save on a regular basis. Lesson 1 has a direct simulation connection as students will practice making saving money a priority during their visit to JA Finance Park. In Lesson 2, students learn about how insurance works and the various kinds of policies people can buy. Students play a matching game to match life events to the type of insurance needed for coverage. This also ties to the Finance Park simulation because students will need to understand the different types of insurance and what they are used for. These are the extension activities for Unit 2. In Extension 1, students explore FAFSA and find out how it can help with college cost. In Extension 2, students learn about stock quotes and use a sample stock quote to analyze a stock portfolio. In Extension 3, students learn about saving for retirement and what a Roth IRA is. They then look at different workers' scenarios and decide if it would be a good idea for that person to start saving with a Roth IRA. In Extension 4, students learn about compound interest and practice using the Rule of 72 to estimate how their savings will grow. Finally, in Extension 5, students work through a 5-module lesson to learn about risk, insurance terms, and different types of insurance on the JA platform. Unit 3, Debit and Credit, has students compare financial institutions and their services. They will weigh the advantages and disadvantages of debit and credit and examine the role that credit scores and credit reporting have on personal finances. There are 4 core lessons and 5 extension activities to choose from. This entire unit has a very strong tie to what the students will be doing in the simulation at JA Finance Park. Here are your 4 core lessons for Unit 3, Debit and Credit. In Lesson 1, students learn about services banks and other financial institutions provide. They will organize their thoughts and learning in their workbook and complete the online and mobile security foldable activity. The simulation connection here is that during the simulation, students will have a bank account and a debit card that they will use to pay bills. In Lesson 2, students learn about the consequences of debit and credit card use and misuse. They will take a detailed look at credit card statements and discuss techniques companies use to encourage signing you up for credit cards. The connection to the simulation here is that students will be assigned debt for their persona. They will choose whether to budget and pay the minimum monthly payment or pay more. In Lesson 3, students play the Savvy Shopper game to learn the costs and benefits of debit and credit. Students will have to keep track of their own spending and shopping. For Lesson 4, students will learn the factors that are part of a credit score and understand good versus bad debt. Students will play the credit score game to reinforce key terms and concepts. The simulation connection here is that student personas again are given a credit score that affect their approval of loans and what they can budget for on certain line items such as transportation and housing. Here are your extension activities for Unit 3, Debit and Credit. With Extension 1, students practice check writing and keeping a check register. In Extension 2, students learn about installment debt and how it can considerably affect what you pay on a purchase. Extension 3, students learn the benefits and responsibilities that come with renting or owning a home. In Extension 4, students learn about the advantages and disadvantages of leasing or buying a car. You'll notice that Extensions 3 and 4 have asterisks because they directly connect to the simulation. Students will have to make decisions on renting or owning a home and buying or leasing a car during their visit to JA Finance Park. Extension 5, students learn about how they can protect themselves from identity theft. The final unit before your visit to JA Finance Park is Unit 4, Budget. In this unit, students discover the importance of spending money wisely and identifying a budget as a valuable tool to help them. Students will practice this by creating personal budgets and evaluating other case study budgets. There are 3 core units and 3 extension activities for you to choose from. Again, much like Unit 3, this has a very strong correlation to what the students will be doing when they visit JA Finance Park. These are your 3 core lessons for Unit 4 Budget Plus. In Lesson 1, students think about their current spending habits and evaluate if that spending is for a want or a need and how it supports their ultimate goal. They talk about impulse buying and the tactics that stores use to encourage impulse buys. During Lesson 2, students think about what it means to live paycheck to paycheck and discover tools to help them avoid that situation. A worksheet in the student workbook provides an opportunity for students to review a case study. This has a strong simulation connection because it includes some making it real facts that share current household income averages for various regions of the U.S. Students also have the opportunity to research the average income in your area to see how it compares to the national and regional average. This gives them insight for when they visit Finance Park and must build a budget based off of a real local salary. Finally, Lesson 3 gets students to think about the choices people make every day and the cost and benefits of those choices. Students examine this through budget examples. They discuss what spending for an average family might look like and compare it to average spending of a teenager. You have 3 extension activities for Unit 4. In Extension 1, students practice preparing budgets and making budgeting decisions. They will compare 3 personal budgets and discover that there is no one right way to spend a personal income. Decisions are influenced by goals and values. Extension 2. Through research, students learn to recognize the need for responsible spending and the benefit of budgeting. They will develop a personal budget, assuming that they are out of school and living on their own. Extension Activity 3 explores different financial aid options available for education after high school. Students will work in groups to read through some scenarios and make recommendations about their financial options. Extension 3 has an asterisk because it can be used to link with college planning requirements. After you have delivered all of the in-class lessons, the next step is to visit JA Finance Park for the simulation portion. There are more detailed instructions for preparing specifically for this part that will be shared with you. What we want to show you here is the overview of what the simulation looks like. It is a one-day visit to JA Finance Park where students will take on the personas of adults. They will use their situation in the scenario along with what they have learned in class to make decisions and build a balanced budget. After your visit, you have a debriefing lesson that provides an opportunity for students to reflect on the simulation and think about planning what they can do now to help assure their future goals become reality. Individual student reports will also be available following the simulation for review. There is also a post-test that is taken during this time, assuming that you gave the pre-test at the beginning. Thank you so much for taking the time to go through this training and get your students prepared for their visit to JA Finance Park. We covered a lot in this training, but the one thing that I want to reinforce is that this curriculum is easy to navigate and use. Nobody knows your students better than you do. Tailor this program to work best in your classroom and fit with your schedule. Remember, the more prepared the students are arriving at the simulation, the more meaningful the experience will be. We look forward to seeing you soon at JA Finance Park.